good morning. It's another beautiful Disney day, and I realized I have not done a review on the main lens I use when I'm shooting in the park, which is a Olympus 8 to 25mm f4 lens. It's a great, versatile, do everything zoom. So I want to spend some time this morning talking about why I like this lens and why this type of lens works really well for this type of environment, how it can do almost everything, and then how you can supplement it with a few other lenses to fill in the gaps that it doesn't cover for you. So come along with me, this should be fun. All right, so let's talk about what this lens is not good for first. It's only an f4, so it's not going to be very good on dark rides. It's not going to be good on Indiana Jones, like I just came off of. It's not going to be good on Haunted Mansion. So this is a lens you're going to want to use on rides where there's a little more light, outdoor rides, where you also want the versatility of being able to zoom. So we're going to go on one of my absolute favorite rides, the Jungle Cruise, and show you where a lens like this can really perform and what kind of range it has.
We're going to do...
Well, it looks like Jungle Cruise is closed right now, so we will find something else to do until it opens. Since Jungle Cruise is temporarily closed, I'm going to kill some time waiting for it to reopen by riding Big Thunder Mountain, which is another attraction. It's an outdoor attraction. There's a mixture of telephoto and wide-angle photo opportunities, so having a zoom lens is a nice thing to have. It's outdoors in the daytime, so the f4 aperture shouldn't make too much of a difference. And it's a pretty bumpy ride, so the fact that this lens is one of Olympus's pro lenses, it's got the all-metal construction, it's crush-proof, splash-proof, drop-proof, freeze-proof. Let's see if it's Big Thunder Mountain-proof. He's back. Scary ride's over. So that hopefully gave you a little bit of an idea of what this lens can do on a ride like Big Thunder. It's got some range, so I can zoom out and get a nice wide shot in some of the tunnels. And then when I want to zoom in on targets, one of my favorite things to shoot in the park is that goat with the stick of dynamite in his mouth. I call him Dynamite Goat. And usually I try to shoot stills of him. As soon as you come to the second rise, the second lift hill on the ride, be ready on your right-hand side, you'll see him. This lens, even though it's an f4 lens, no problem locking onto that a target that's moving that fast, so you don't necessarily need a fast aperture. The fact that this lens is an f4 and not an f2.8 keeps it compact, keeps it light, keeps it affordable, so that makes me more likely to bring it along. One of the things you do have to be mindful of with this lens in particular, it is really prone to flare. The front lens element is kind of bulbous, and if it's not perfectly clean, it does like to flare. I'm trying to make it flare right now. There we go. You're gonna get a lot of that you can see in this corner. The lens does come with a lens hood. It's a locking hood, which I like. It's not gonna come off accidentally, but in order for the hood to work with such a wide-angle lens, it's not very big, and so the lens hood, it helps with light coming in from the top, but it's really mostly there for protection, not for keeping down flare. So it's something to be mindful of with this lens. Definitely keep a lens cloth in your bag and keep it clean. If the lens is clean, that flare will be less noticeable, but if there's any dust or smudges or fingerprints on your lens, the light's gonna catch those and they're gonna ruin a lot of shots. So this is something to be mindful of. Keep a lens cloth in your pocket and just be constantly wiping your lens. One of the things I like about having a wide-angle lens is it lets me take really interesting photos of compositions like this behind me, where you've got this tree that's been here since the opening day of the park in the 1950s, and there's this anchor that they've put next to the tree as decoration that has actually grown into the tree. The tree is starting to absorb parts of this anchor. So a wide-angle lens like this, it focuses really close and it lets you get really close to subjects. It takes a little bit of work because with a wide-angle lens, a shift in a few millimeters in your position really makes a difference in your final composition. So I like to look for these little tiny vignettes and spend a few minutes relaxing in the shade and working a composition. It's kind of fun. It's a nice break from the manic dash to go from ride to ride to ride. So let's see. So Jungle Cruise is still down, but they've got cast members out in front of the entrance, and they are reenacting the ride using stuffed animals. It is awesome. So I watched that show, which was really cool, and then I went over to Tropical Hideaway and had an awesome spicy Dole Whip and a chicken bao. And while I was eating that, I looked over and saw scuba divers getting in the water. So apparently there is something significant that needs to be fixed. So who knows when the ride's going to be back up. So I am going to go over to Galaxy's Edge and check out some stuff over there, and I'm going to take you on Rise of the Resistance, and we'll show you what this lens can and can't do on a ride like that. Stay tuned. Alright, Rise of the Resistance was fun, as always. That's rapidly becoming one of my favorite rides, something I have to do every time I come here, whether I have to wait in line forever or pay the fee. It's worth it either way. This is a decent lens. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It would definitely benefit from being an f2.8 instead of an f4. You wouldn't have to jack your ISO as hard to get crisp stills, but video on it looks pretty good, and that's what I use this a lot for, is for video on some of the rides. So that it's, again, zoom lenses are a compromise, and I'm trying to show you what this lens is good at, what it's not good at, and what it can be made to work for. So Rise of the Resistance falls right there in the middle. It works, but you might have better results with other lenses. So bring a bunch of lenses and shoot it a bunch of different ways. All right, it looks like Jungle Cruise is open again, so let's go and do this. Jungle Cruise, one of my favorites. Again, great examples of what this lens is good for. There's enough light for it to do its thing and give you clean images, and it does everything from go wide enough to let you get shots of the piranhas right next to the boat, and then it zooms in and gets you shots of what's going on all the way across the river. So great lens for Jungle Cruise. And it's waterproof, so you don't have to worry about getting your camera drowned when you go through Schweitzer Falls. So I've hopped over to Disney's California Adventure because the Food and Wine Festival is going on. So I'm over here enjoying some food, some wine, and some not wine. It's the middle part of the day, so there's not a lot of good stuff out there, photographically speaking, to really show off this lens. But I am just going to walk around the park for a few hours, and I'm going to make a little montage of some stills and some video of everything I'm going to shoot with this lens for the few hours that I'm here before I hop back to the Disneyland park. And I will catch up to you after dark in Disneyland. See ya. All these people leaving. Do they not know they have 3 hours left? All right, the night is coming to a close, and I think I'm going to wrap up my review of the Olympus 8 to 25mm f4 Pro lens. Again, this is my kind of my favorite lens and my go-to for just walking around every day, all day, doing pretty much everything lens. It has some limitations, but for the most part, it's going to do 95% of everything you're going to want a lens to do. And it's relatively lightweight and compact to boot, so there's really no reason not to buy this lens. As long as you understand its workarounds. It is prone to flare, and it does have a fairly dark max aperture of f4. So I'm going to end with that. And stay tuned for the next one, because I'll be back with more content fairly soon. Thanks.